We begin Season 2 by acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land on which we are recording, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and pay our respects to their elders past and present.
Nice.
Technology doesn't like us today, or we're just very rusty.
I think that's what happens when you take a holiday and then everyone's had a holiday and you've come back to work and you've been like, what's my password again? How do I do this?
It's exactly what's happening.
Where are all my cords? Where is everything?
Where's the headphone? Where's the stands? Like it's
what
just
am
one
I
of
meant
those
to
days.
do? How do we do this? We podcast, right?
Welcome to Let's Be Perfectly Queer,
a queer podcast creating space to talk about all things queer.
My name is Archie.
And I'm Katie.
And we are your hosts.
Questions of how you identify, seeking answers to clarify. Whether you're queen
or somewhere in between, let's be perfectly queer.
And we are back for Season 2.
We made it.
We made it.
This is just going to be a quick episode, kind of like, hey, we're back. What have we been up to? And talk about what this season's going to look like.
Yeah, totally. And we're not doing a video for this one just because I don't want to put too many more clothes on. We're in Australia. It's like 41 degrees. It is well hot.
Yeah.
So if you can envision what we look like, we're sitting in a cold room with the aircon cracked up to max.
With no lights on.
With no lights on.
No more heat.
Exactly. I need low stimulation. It is just, It's a lot.
The aircon's not cracked up to max because we can't have it too loud. Otherwise, you're going to hear it through the microphone.
So only on 24 degrees. We're actually very eco-conscious for this. Yeah. We're aware. We are aware. But that's why there's no recording. So you'll get a happy snap of us at some point in time when we feel like being a little bit more put together, maybe.
Yeah, and where I'm not in my underwear.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to get a different crowd if I put that picture up. Anyway.
We are. We definitely are.
What have we been up to?
We went traveling through Japan.
We did, and it was incredible.
A lot of fun. And it was brilliant. Had the most amazing time. It's beautiful. Its people are beautiful. The food is amazing.
Yeah, no, it was really good. The people were great. There was a lot more to do. So everything didn't open till late. So everything opened like roughly 11, but everything stays open till like 9 or 10, depending on what you're into. So, it's got more of an afternoon life. If you want to get up early and do something in the morning, you might as well just sleep in, unless you want to do shrines and that kind of thing. But there's not too much in events-wise, unless you're doing something like Team Labs. I think they open up at 9, but a lot of the other places will open up at like 10 or 11.
Yeah, and Team Labs, honestly, do it. It's worth the hype. It is so much fun. It's just like the best experience, and we don't get that kind of stuff in Australia. So I'm always like, go experience it out there.
Yeah.
It was great. The food was amazing.
Yeah, so Japan was amazing. I also saw last night on TikTok that Taylor Swift is currently in Japan, and there was a queer proposal for a country that, it's not illegal, but it's just kind of not open. They do have a pride, though. I did find out they do have pride.
Do they?
Like a mini pride. Remember I showed you pictures?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like in April or May, they have like a mini little pride thing, and the public there do want to make it more normalized, but it's still just not.
Yeah, it's not as out there. I think we did see quite a few queer couples over there.
We did, yeah.
There's nothing like being seen and being like, love that.
We're like, oh, you're our people. We should have brought you a sticker and just handed it to you. But
oh my gosh, that's what we're doing next time. We're bringing our stickers and we'll just put them everywhere. It'll be great.
Yeah.
But no, it was really, really good.
It was nice to have a break.
Yeah, and it's good to be back, but gosh, I hope you guys have had a break over the summer months. For us, summer months, but like the December, January period, because everyone needs some downtime. Yeah,
you just need you need to recharge the batteries and then get ready for the new year, because if you don't recharge the batteries, and that's been me for the last few years.
And like I'm still a little bit tired. We had Blink 182 concert the day before yesterday.
Yeah, Blink is amazing. We were on the Friday night.
Good.
We didn't go on the Thursday night where the crowd was ripped to shreds by Blink 182.
That's so funny. But yeah, we went on the Friday night. It was so freaking amazing. It was so hot as well. I was sweating through everything, but it was really great.
Yeah, it was great. It was good to finally see Blink 182 as a whole, because the last time I saw them was Downwave, where they didn't have Travis Barker because he was still getting over his fear of flying. And yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because remember he was almost in a plane crash or something?
Wasn't he in a plane crash?
Possibly. And so then he has a fear. He hates flying. Like, he still hates flying, but
that's a long commute, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's a long flight. When you have such a serious phobia of flying, he didn't end up making Soundwave. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And without Travis Barker, it's not the same.
Well, they said
I think that's what they were
20
saying.
years since they've been to Australia.
Because they came over without Travis, and that was Soundwave, which would have been...
No, it can't be.
Would have been like...
We're not that old.
2008 or 2010,
it
wouldn't have been 20 years. I think, was the last time they came as a band that was without Travis.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're doing good. But yeah, so we went to
know.
Blink, and that was awesome. What else have we done?
Don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
so much. Gone back to work.
Yeah, both back at work. It's hard getting back into the swing of things. And
I don't know why I'm complaining. It's actually really good. I really like my job
I've had
now.
a really good start to the year as well. Like, you know.
It's been great.
Yeah.
I think it's just that whole getting into it after being away for so long, that whole, you feel like the holiday just oozes off you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shame.
I think I dealt better with the holiday blues than you did.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we mentioned this last year about what we've got coming in the mix for the moment. Yes. So we are getting together things so we can have other people on the podcast. So we're trying to work out technology to allow other people to come on, because we've had a lot of interest from people, and I think it would be great to be able to actually talk to other people about topics. Yeah,
we do have a waiting list of people to come on from all over the world, which is really, really cool. I need to work on some technology to make it sound good, because it's sometimes hard when you do have like a phone interview or a Zoom interview if the microphones aren't that great. So we're going to do our best. Maybe the first few, it might be a bit of a tester and see how we go, but we are aiming to get a lot more people on, and we're going to start a new segment. Well, new topic. New segment? New segment.
New segment, yes.
Do you want to tell them what it's called?
So we are starting a new segment called Queer and A.
Yeah. So if you have any dying questions that you want to know or want to ask us, and you're too scared to ask someone, or you're not sure if it's going to be inappropriate or not, ask us, and we will talk them and chat them through. And sometimes we'll get some stuff off Reddit, because Reddit's become a guilty pleasure of mine lately. And we'll do some anonymous survey thingies on Instagram where you can ask your anonymous questions if you don't want to.
Because people have a lot of questions, and I think it's good to have questions about stuff and being able to answer it and ask those burning questions that might not feel 100% appropriate.
Yeah.
Because you're right, some questions aren't appropriate to ask somebody who's queer. Just because they are queer doesn't mean they have to be an encyclopedia for everybody. But guess what? That's why we're here.
Because Let's Be Perfectly Queer, and we're going to give you all the information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can. Do you have some ready to go?
I have some from Reddit ready to go to give you a tester. So
yes.
Maybe we need to come up with a jingle for Queer and A.
Queer
Shay and
Renee.
Amy, if you're listening.
Queer and A. Queer and A.
Do you want it just to be that? It can be that if you want.
Can we cut that out and put it in every single one ever again?
We can, because I'm not recording that again. All right, so this comes from Reddit. It says, I know you guys want to be inclusive and all, but I always feel behind on all the letters you add to LGBT. So is it fine I just say LGBT+? This is not meant to not be inclusive. I'm all for LGBT+, but sometimes it gets a bit too many letters for me personally. So will I offend you guys if I only say LGBT+, or are you guys fine with it? What's your opinion?
Oh, do you know what? I've got a funny opinion about this one.
Go ahead.
So I understand that sentiment exactly. Yeah. There's nothing, and I think a lot of people can, even when you're saying it, it is quite a mouthful.
Yes.
And every now and then I'll stumble over it. And I agree from my perspective, and I'm not going to speak for everybody in the world. I think LGBT+ is fine.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I would say LGBTQ, because Q is an umbrella term. If you can get to the Q, that's great. Q+ is grand. Because you're right, there are so many things, and it's better acknowledging that this minority exists rather than just being like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I also think it's fine. Others may not agree, but I think LGBT+ is fine, or if you can add the Q, it's even better. I don't find anything wrong with it, but there may be others who disagree, and that's okay. But as long as you're making an effort, because I once had someone say, oh, LGBT and all the other alphabet letters they're adding because it's too many. It's like...
I understand the sentiment, but also I'm like, oh, that gives me the ick.
Yes. And they didn't mean it as a offensive way, but it came across that way because they were like, those too many letters. I'm like, oh.
But that's what
just say plus.
Yeah, but that's what often it is that people don't mean to be offensive because it's meant in like a jovial way, but still that's micro-homophobia, is it not?
Yeah, it is. And they don't realize it, but it is. And I've noticed that micro-homophobia is coming back. I was listening to the radio on the way home, and there was a presenter on a popular show over East, and he said, oh, that's the gayest thing you've ever said. Some guy was saying that he really liked a vanilla slice or something like that. Something like that. And he's like,
what's wrong with liking vanilla slice?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, yep, not okay. But anyway, so other people, they said, yeah, all the labels identify with are included in plus. So I just say plus. And they said, I don't know anybody who's been upset over hearing the shortened version. you're good to keep using the acronym that you already say. If that's what you're comfortable with, then go with it.
If you're dealing with what if you're dealing with a specific term of the queer community, you can just say that specific term of the queer community.
Yeah,
but
100%.
As an overarching thing, yeah, totally.
Yeah. And someone else agreed with you and they said, I say LGBTQ+.
Yeah.
Because that's the acronym I was raised hearing. What's your thoughts? Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Do you like this new segment? Let us know. Would you like another question?
Yeah, I love questions.
Cool. What should I say to someone who comes out to me? Saying, okay, or that's nice, sounds like I'm dismissing them, but trying to ask questions or engage in conversation about it seems intrusive. So what should I say to someone who comes out to me?
It's totally dependent on the situation. Like, coming out is a huge range of, like, you're the first person that they're talking to about it, being like, I'm gay, I don't know how I feel about it, I feel uncomfortable, all of that kind of stuff. Gauging how they're feeling is more important than gauging how you're feeling, to be honest.
And I know that some people do this, like, oh, I already knew. You're kind of dismissing them.
Yeah.
So one thing that you should not say is, I already knew. Because for some people, it's really, really hard to come out. And by you saying, oh, I already knew that, you're diminishing them coming out to you.
Do you know what? I can understand where you're coming from there, but also I don't 100% agree with it because...
That's fine.
Yeah, I know it's fine. We're allowed to not agree. It's okay. That's the point of the podcast.
Exactly.
We're allowed to not have the same...
Because some people will agree with me and some people will agree with you.
Exactly. I think if I was put in the circumstances where they're just like, I already knew that, I would probably feel a little bit at ease, at least, not having to explain the whole situation. Because when I came out, it was like, oh my goodness. Like,
So I mean, like, don't go, oh, I already knew that and that's it. Like, don't say, oh, thank you for coming out to me, or like, oh, I'm really, it's just like, oh, I already knew, and then just dismiss that. That's what I'm saying.
So it's the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody comes out to you, it literally could just be in conversation and be like, oh yeah, my like girlfriend.
Yeah.
And them also being female presenting. Coming out,
there's
like,
a whole spectrum.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess it depends how they come out. Is it like, hey, I've got something to tell you, and then, or is it like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gay. You're like, oh cool, like, oh, thanks for sharing that information with me.
Do you know, literally that's what I always say. I'm like, oh cool, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
That tends to be my default, just because then, like, internally in my head, I'm like, I'm queer as well. This is fabulous. We're community.
Yeah. Whereas
for somebody who isn't queer, that's cool.
So I think it all depends on the actual circumstances and who's coming out to you, whether if it's a friend or a family member, all that kind of stuff will depend on how you react.
Yeah. All right. So circumstances is, I'm asking you, my love, if somebody you thought or had presented as heterosexual was coming out to you and be like, I think, not even I think, I'm gay. Yeah. What would be the first thing you'd say?
That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Thanks. I'm just like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with me. Like, I'm glad I could be that safe person for you.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right there is by saying that you're actually showing them that you're a person who cares for them. Yes. And that you're a safe place for them. That's the most important thing. Yeah. That's what I think. Because you don't want to just dismiss them and like, ugh. You know, so it all depends. And if someone's like, oh, I'll be like, fuck off. Like, can I retract that statement? And there's the first swear word of the year. It started. So someone said, it depends. Your response should match their excitement. People that casually weave it into conversation usually don't want confetti and vice versa, which is a really good point. So it depends on how they've said it and how they've brought it up. Yeah, literally like what we were saying, the context behind it is huge. Yeah. Would you like some more? Always. Why is intersex included when it's a physiological/chromosomal variation and not a sexual gender orientation? Sorry if I worded it wrong. What's your idea on that? Do you know what? I've always thought about that because intersex, you're right, it's biological. And some people who are intersex don't want to be a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. That's the whole thing. It might not. You might not feel that being queer is part of your identity. It might actually not sit with you. Just because you're intersex doesn't mean that you are part of the queer community. It doesn't mean that you aren't. I think that we've just absorbed people who are intersex because it comes under the gender non-binary. Not gender non-binary. It comes under not the heteronormative ideologies that the world has. Yes. I think that's why they've been like, oh, we don't understand this. Yeah. Put them in with the rest of the LGBTQ plus letters. They can stand in there. Because I also have thought about this, and I've not ever had a discussion with somebody who was presenting as intersex, and it is something I actually really want to do. Yeah,
it's something on our list that we would love to have a conversation with someone who is intersex. So if you're listening, if you are intersex, or if you know someone in the Perth community or abroad, please get in contact. So it is an interesting one. I'm not 100% sure. Not everybody who is intersex feels like they belong with the LGBTQIA plus community. I guess also not being cisnormative, it kind of falls under the umbrella.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But there are some people who are intersex and they want nothing to do with the LGBT community.
That's the whole thing is, if you are queer, generally there is a feeling within you saying that you don't fit the heteronormative standards. It's not like somebody's going to bar you and be like, you can't be queer.
No. And as part of a human race, we want to belong.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you don't belong in, heteronormative, cisnormative society, then...
You're right. It's a funny idea behind it, because if you think about it, now in Australia, we're leading the way towards not doing gender conforming
surgery on infants?
Babies, because that has been proven not to actually work for them in the long term in regards to medical complications or secondarily the psychological complications that come with it when being assigned the wrong gender at birth.
Yes.
But also, what if for the people who are intersex, who do have gender conforming care, that just so happens to actually coincide with how they perceive themselves and how they would like to present for the rest of their lives, then those kind of people may not see themselves as part of the queer community at all.
Yeah. So,
it's fine. That's everyone's own journey that they go on themselves. It doesn't have anything to do with other people.
No. So, it's an interesting question, and it's one that we can kind of answer but kind of not. So,
can anybody ever answer it?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it ever is going to be an answerable question. I think it's one of those things that there are always going to be questions that are so subjective to how each person feels in the situation, and that a majority statement towards it is never going to be 100% authentic.
So someone on Reddit said, it's worth noting that a lot of intersex people don't want to be included in the acronym /community for the reasons, that's been stated. Then again, a lot of them do want to be included because of society insisting on a binary that doesn't include them. Rainbow communities give them a space to belong.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we said, except better.
We should just hire them to listen to our podcast and make us sound better. Let's just end on one funny question.
Yeah, do it.
Do you have to pay an upgrade fee to go from the LGBTQ membership to the LGBTQ plus?
Yes.
100%.
You definitely do.
You go from $7.99 a month streaming to $12.99 for the extra features.
Absolutely. And then you have to get a tattoo of a rainbow somewhere on your body.
Yes, that's the only way you can be included in the LGBTQ plus. Or not Taylor, or Tegan and Sarah lyrics or something like that. That will elevate you up the premium membership.
It's the only way, and don't let anyone teach you any different. We're here for the education, guys.
So let us know. Do you like this new segment? We'll try to structure the episodes a little bit different. We'll see how they go. Add in a queer and A every now and then.
Yeah.
Just to break it up and make it not so intense, because we've had some quite intense episodes.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't like being angry all the time.
Katie's attempt not to swear so much and get angry.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing a drinking game, you might not be an alcoholic this season.
How many times you swear and get mad?
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. It'll be great.
So that's been the first kind of intro welcome back episode, and we'll be back in a few weeks with episode 2. Don't forget to send us your questions for Queer and A.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is send them to our email, letsbeperfectlyqueerpod@gmail.com. Send us an email with all your emails. You can also DM us if you find us on Instagram, at Let's Be Perfectly Queer Podcast.
We might be able to see if we can do something on Spotify for the question.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Find us on Spotify, finding us on all your streaming services, which you already have, so gold star to you. You're amazing. I love you guts.
Thank you for sticking around and listening to episode 1, season 2. Until next time, I hope that we have been
perfectly queer.